Happy Wednesday, everyone. We're back for episode 4 of the Exploration Gaming Podcast. I'm Ethan, and I'm doing this a little different because I'm trying to be in a habit. So I'm doing 2 episodes in a row, just how it is. However, I was torn because there's a list of 3 major news items that I think that I'd like to get back around to and talk about. But there's also some games that I've finished up in the past couple weeks that I really want to talk about. I want to provide my thoughts on. Maybe a review score. I don't know yet because this first one I split up basically in 2 different plays. I played this game, started it. Realistically, I started it 2 years ago, playing a little bit with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And then I'd probably say a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, I came back to this game and was like, I want to play it and I think it might be good for me right now. And I just couldn't get into it. And I was like, man, I wasn't feeling it. But I came back to it recently. I have a lot going on in my life. Mm, have a lot, just a lot going on. And it resonated so much more with me because I've been very attuned and attentive to my emotions. This game is Gris. And for those who haven't played it, the one thing anyone who has played it is going to tell you is this game is about grief. Ironically, it's named Gris, but it is about grief. It's about the Kubler-Ross 5 stages of grief. And the developers did such a fantastic job of personifying and delivering the 5 stages of grief in such an artful and impactful way. When you look at it from a piece of art, which also a key here, if you are a connoisseur of art and you look and view at games as art or an art medium, then you're gonna love this game because that's what this game really is at the end of the day. It is more about telling this story through the environment, through visual storytelling, through the soundtrack. This is how the story is told and how impactful this can be, especially if you are someone who is in the process of going through the grieving process. You are dealing with something really hard and your body is responding through grief. And you are in tune with your emotions. You're recognizing, I am in the anger stage of the 5 stages of grief. Which I would say that the anger and depression, in my opinion, for me personally, are the easy ones to be like, when you're in them, you're like, I am in this stage of grief right now because I am dealing with these emotions and they're very present. And this game does a fantastic job of portraying all of these. They represent them by the mechanics that are introduced as you're dealing with these stages of grief, whether that is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, or acceptance. The abilities that you get as you progress in the game are very reflective of how you manage these emotions, how you deal with them. Your ability to work through these emotions is really what these powers are about. And on top of that, as you're dealing with these emotions and you're working through these stages of the game, the environment, the colors they use do such a fantastic job of pulling you in and being able to immerse yourself in that emotion. And the environment around you is like, oh wow, this is really emotional. This is impactful. And if you are someone who deals with a lot of emotion and pay attention to your emotions and recognize, oh, I'm dealing with a lot of anger right now, or I'm not feeling great right now, or you're getting through that first stage of denial, and you realize, oh, I wasn't okay. I was trying to be okay, but I wasn't. I think that it's the colors they use, the sounds and the soundtrack that they produced for this game marries so well together to hey, this is what it feels like in a artistic way of how this emotion feels. I don't want to get too spoilery with this, but fair warning, there might be some light spoilers, mostly because I want to iterate first right now that this game is a slow burn. The first two stages of grief that you deal with, of bargaining and depression, or bargaining and anger, sorry, or not denial and anger, they're slow. Which again, it may have been intentional from an artistic standpoint of, when you start going through this process, it's really hard to know. It's slow build up of understanding these emotions and understanding what's going on. But the first stage, you're just learning how to walk again. You're just learning how to jump again. You're just learning how to do these basic everyday activities, because you just went through this traumatic event or something that has caused you mentally, physically to react subconsciously. And that is really what we learn to do, is just how, when you go through this major life event, you try to figure out how to reincorporate yourself into the world around you. And typically that is by just being in denial and being like, I'm okay, nothing's wrong, everything's okay, I'm gonna be fine. And that's slow. This slow reintroduction to, oftentimes, anger, where you are being controlled by your anger. And that happens in this. In and again, in a very artistic sense, you are controlled by this emotion, and you learn how to resist it, learning how to prevent yourself from getting pushed around by anger. And those first two are very slow. And that's kind of where I fell off as I'm getting into the third one, of bargaining, which for me, I have a hard time recognizing bargaining from depression or from grief, from the grief stages. And I don't know if I necessarily go through those processes anymore. I guess I kind of do, right? I can see it a little bit more now, but I had to Google it, and I didn't understand, because bargaining isn't as much of an emotion as it is a mental process. And when you go out, read Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief, or at least look up how Kubler-Ross defines bargaining, this stage of the game is a literal representation of what it is to go through bargaining. And I thought this part of the game was fantastic. And I think that their ability to present it in this manner and actually get people to understand what bargaining looks like, and help them understand the nonverbal piece, is where they kind of lost, where they will lose people and not help people understand. But I would recommend just going out and do a quick read of Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief. I think it's grief.com potentially, or if you just type in Kubler-Ross 5 stages of grief, it's one of the first links that come up. And this game is, like I said, a slow burn. And if you can get to that point, and you can get to the bargaining, and especially depression, I think those two really do a good job from a gameplay perspective. This is where you start feeling more like a game, where you are getting the traversal, the more platforming and traversal puzzles of the environment, which I found to be really fun. And there's a great balance of someone who's never played video games before can go through and play this game, find some enjoyment, enjoy the art that they created, and someone who is much more into games, into platformers, they can come into this game or into environmental puzzles. They can come into this game and be like, oh, there's something for me at this level because there are more difficult mementos, which are just the collectibles within this game that you can experience, that you can go and find and have a little bit of a trying to figure out how do I get to this spot? How do I use my abilities that I have gained to get here? Which I found to be I found to be enjoyable. There were times when I thought, man, this is really cool. And there are times where I thought, this one's a little bit much for me. However, I think this is a really well done game from that perspective. And I would recommend this game to most people. I think everyone's going to come back and be like, I loved this game. This game was so good. If you are a gameplay first, it has to be the best gameplay, or you're looking for really good gameplay, this might not be the game for you. This is not going out and reinventing the wheel of gameplay. Do I think that they do some really cool stuff closer to the end, the midpoint and end of this game? Yes, the second half of this game is every piece of it is phenomenal. It is arguably a masterpiece for the second half of the game. The first half is just a little slow, but the artwork, the sound, the music is just everything to me because of how much it resonated with me in a time where I would arguably say that I was going through the 5 stages of grief, like stuff in my life, just so many things were out of my control. And my brain and my body were just like, we are having a hard time processing this. And these later, this, as I was getting better and as I'm dealing with some of this stuff going on in my life, this hit. This hit so hard. And I recommend playing it if you are looking for a piece of art that you get to interact with, that you get to experience, that you get to play a part in. You should play this game. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably say an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 feels really good. I'd love to give it a 9 personally, because I think that there is a love for this game that is deeper for me. But I think that a lot of people would look at this as a 7 game if you're looking at it just from a pure gameplay perspective. However, I think you should go play it. I think people should go enjoy this game and just slow down. Slow down, enjoy this game. I know there's so much going on in life right now. There's so much going on in the world. There's so much going on from the games industry, of all the games that are coming out in the next couple months. We are in a world where everything is going a mile a minute. And this game forces you to slow down and deal with these emotions, deal with the world around you in a very simple but beautiful way. Please, please, please go play Gris. It's on every major platform. Support these developers. Let me know what you think of it because I loved it. Thank you for watching. Keep exploring games. If you're going through the grieving process, reach out to someone and ask for help. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone. Until next time.